Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining me. We have a very interesting full moon this night. I think, very interesting in Karnataka at least, because this full moon brings the lockdown. Right? We're gonna have a lockdown which is in sync with the moon cycle. And I mean, it makes me wonder, did they deliberately choose that astrologically? Because they're going from full moon, which is expansion, to new moon, which is, erasing things. So are they like praying, let all the, viruses like just get drained out? That would be nice indeed. But it's also interesting because we have the sun in Taurus, which is is the second house, the house of wealth and prosperity and self-worth and materialistic desires and all of that. And the moon is sitting in Scorpio, which is, um, you know, in a way also your shadow, but then you've got all the occult sciences and, the hidden desires, hidden everything, you know. So we've got this dance between these two aspects, which I think also, and full moon, always brings in the element of sharing, which is, I think, very uh, important right now. The moment lockdown is announced, everybody started their panic buying again. I mean, a little faith, things do work out. So also, I did want to just mention, I don't know how many of you are feeling this as well, but the general vibe that I'm sensing right now, hopefully it's not in my group, but the general vibe that I'm sensing from around is that there was sort of more positivity in, the lockdown last year. But this time I'm just sensing total exhaustion. People are just fed up. They're like, you know, last time you were like, yeah, we can do this and stuff, and this time people are like, I can't take this anymore and scared. Yeah. So see, first off, it's natural to feel that, but then, if we can sort of call this a form of despondency. What happens when there's despondency? It's basically things are not going your way. You don't like what's happening. You don't see a way out. You don't see, the light at the end of the tunnel. So you just get fed up and frustrated that I don't know, I'm just fed up. There's no way out. There's no point in doing anything. But that's not really true, you know, especially all of you over here. What do you think the point of your practice is? Like when commandos train, they don't train with the enemy, right? They train with each other. But what are they training for? They're training for a time when things actually go wrong. So, what do you think your training has always been about? It's about the times when things go wrong. So, this is what you have been preparing for. So put everything in to application right now. Look at what you're feeling, allow yourself to feel it, but don't act on it. And not taking action also means acting. So if you're just going to lie face down on bed all day, now if that's a conscious choice that, what, I've reached my saturation, today is just going to be face down on the bedtime, and I'm going to spend all day in bed, and tomorrow onwards I get back to life, that's different. But if you're just going to be like, getting into the zombie mode, it's not going to be fun. So let me just put that on silent. So that's what I want you to think about this full moon. I mean, full moon is ultimately all about, shining the light on your own light. So let that happen. And on that note, deep breath and close your eyes. Get comfortable. Let your spine be comfortably erect, but not like, you know, stiff or rigid. You may want to imagine some sort of movement as you let this relax you. Maybe the feeling of being on a hammock, or maybe your little baby in a cradle, whatever feels right and safe. Maybe if you feel comfortable and safe in a boat, maybe you're in a little boat that's just gently rocking back and forth. And let that just take you deeper. Just becoming aware of the breath in the belly. And just observing if you've been experiencing any fears or any negative emotions recently. Just gently being aware of it, not fighting it, not resisting, just being aware of it and watching the body carefully. Is there any part of your body that is tense? You don't have to relax it. Just observe. Have you noticed that one of the greatest gifts we receive in the company of another person is just their company? When somebody shares your space and your state with you without judging, without trying to fix it, just being there. Can you just be there for yourself right now? And as you get more and more comfortable in this, maybe you can ask yourself if it feels right. Can I just be there for other people in my life as well? Just being there, sharing their space and their state, not trying to judge or label anything, not trying to fix anything, not worrying for them, just being there, knowing that they're strong enough to handle it, knowing that they will be okay. This full moon highlights a very beautiful balance in our lives, the balance between the material and the spiritual. We need material things as much as we need spiritual things. Neglecting either one of these is going to get us into trouble. So I'd like you to just imagine that you're sort of in a cylindrical building standing at the top with a huge hollow in the center, like a mall. Like you go down the stairs from one level to the other. You're standing on the top floor now. And this floor represents your materialistic desires, your needs, your fears. You can walk around, see what you see in the various rooms. Maybe one room has all your materialistic attachments. What are you attached to? Can you tell the difference between the healthy attachments and the not so healthy ones? Is there something you want to remove from that room? Throw out of the window, maybe? Or destroy in another way? Another room might be materialistic desires, the things that you want. What do you see in this room? and what is healthy for you? And is any of these desires holding you back? Would you like to throw something out of this room? Maybe there's another room of your fears associated with materialistic things, not being able to provide for yourself, maybe could be something else. What do you find in this room? Which among these fears are rational fears, and which among these are irrational fears? Maybe another room is your relationship with materialistic things. What do things mean to you? Do you replace people in your life with things? Are you attached to them more than needed? Do you use them to fill a void? Do you use them to compensate for your inadequacies, like bringing gifts to people that you're not being there for enough? Maybe another room is the room of lessons. What are the lessons you have learned so far from things, and what are the lessons they're trying to teach you right now? Allow yourself to go down a level to people. The next level in the building, the one downstairs, is about the people in your life. Go to the room of attachments. There can be positive attachments where you love people. There can be negative attachments where you hate people. What are the attachments you have with the people in your life? Is there anything you'd like to throw out of that room? Allow yourself to move on to the room of desires. What do you seek from relationships and from people? How much of these desires is healthy and empowering? And how many of these desires are disempowering and placing your remote control in someone else's hands? What among these would you like to throw out of this room? Allow yourself to move to the room of relationships. What is your relationship with the people in your life? Are you objectifying them? Do you tend to attach labels to people as useful or not useful to you? Do you allow yourself to witness and accept their humanity and their tendency to make mistakes, even hurt you sometimes? Are you able to see people as people? Or do you tend to idolize or demonize them and switch between the two states? What is the light like in this room? If you have trouble seeing people for who they are, and if the light is low or dim, just turn the light on to a healthy brightness. Open the windows, let the sunshine and the wind come all the way in. And then let yourself move to the room of fears. What are you afraid of the most with the people in your life? What among these fears can you rationally deal with and work to overcome? And what among these are irrational fears that you hold on to? What would you like to throw out of this room? And now allow yourself to walk to the room which keeps the lessons for the people in your life. What are the lessons you have learned from people so far? What are the lessons you have learned about people so far? And what are the lessons you're being asked to learn now? And just feel all these lessons sort of shining into your body like beautiful warm sunshine, getting absorbed into every cell of your body, every layer of your existence. And with that, allow yourself to go another floor down, going down the stairs to lower, to the floor of ideas. The first room of your attachment to ideas. What are the goals, ideologies, principles, ideas you're attached to? What does success mean to you? What does failure mean to you? How attached are you to your ideas? All of these things. Is there something you'd like to throw out of this room? Now let yourself move to the room of desires. What are the mental, emotional things that you desire? Who do you want to be? What do you want to learn? What do you want to accomplish? How many of these desires are healthy? And how many of these are you using to simply decorate your ego? Will you still love yourself if these desires are not met? And with that, allow yourself to move to the room of your relationship. What is your relationship like with your mind? What are the thoughts that you take too seriously? And what are the thoughts that you should be taking more seriously but you aren't? Are you a slave to your mind? Or is the mind a tool that you use? Is there anything you'd like to throw out of this room? Now allow yourself to walk to the room that houses the fears related to your mind and your ideas. What thoughts and feelings are you the most terrified of? Are these fears rational and helping you grow? Or are you using these fears as an excuse for inaction of some sort? Now let yourself enter the room of lessons. What are the lessons you have learned about your mind and from your mind so far? Are there any lessons that you have wrongly learned that you need to let go of? Is there anything you'd like to throw out of this room? Now allow yourself to go still one floor down, allowing yourself to enter the floor of divinity and everything you cannot perceive with your five senses. Everything that you don't know, the vast unknown. Let yourself enter the room of attachments. Do you have any attachments to your idea of God or the universe, whatever you consider it? Is there any attachment to the things that you relate to divinity? Do you have any attachment to emptiness? Do you tend to run away from people or situations? How much of this is healthy and how much of it can you throw out of the room? Now allow yourself to move to the room of desires. What are your desires on the spiritual pathway? Allow yourself to turn on the light if there isn't enough brightness in the room. What do you truly desire? What do you truly desire underneath all of that? Are you using these ideas, all these learnings to feel better about yourself? Or are you truly on a path of genuine detachment? What can you throw out of this room that doesn't serve you anymore? Now let yourself move to the room of relationships. What is your relationship with divinity? Is it a relationship of disbelief? Do you tend to worry about things? Do you tend to want people to learn their lessons because you don't believe enough in the balance that exists in the world, in the presence of divinity that takes care of everything? Is your relationship with divinity that of equals, or are you dependent? Do you tend to beg, or do you tend to demand? Do you use emotional blackmail? What is your relationship like? Is it conditional, where you go when you need help and you forget when you don't? Is there anything in this room that you would like to throw out? Now let yourself move to the room that houses the fears. What are your fears related to divinity and the spiritual pathway? All the things you cannot see. How many of these fears are healthy and helping you grow? And what can you throw out of this room that doesn't serve you anymore? And then let yourself move to the room that houses the lessons. What are the lessons you have learned so far about your own state of bliss, about your connection with divinity, and about being in the flow. Are there any lessons that don't serve you anymore? Anything you need to throw out of the room? Just feel these lessons percolating every cell of your body, like beautiful light filling up every cell, integrating these lessons in every single layer of your being. As you look down, you can see a huge bonfire where you're burning all the things you threw out of those windows, burning all of it, transmuting it so that they now all work in your favor rather than against you. Remember that you always have access to this fire. Whenever you want to throw out something from your life that doesn't serve you anymore, allow yourself to either go up the stairs, take the elevator to the top again, back to where we began. Grateful to all the rooms for all the insights that they brought. And now bring your awareness back to your physical body. Become aware of the sounds in the room. Taking a deep breath in and opening your eyes when you're ready. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next time.